Hello everyone and welcome back to the One Stop Co-op Shop. This is Colin and today we're going to start our playthrough of Hunters AD 2114. Now if you'd like to see how to set up this game, make sure to check out the video before this, as well as if you'd like to know a little bit more about the story, that's also within the setup video. If you just want to see us jump into the playthrough, hang out here. Currently we have some thugs coming right at us right over here. There is one thing I missed about setting up the mission and I want to show you that now. This mission has the sun icon, which means it's happening during the day. The advantage of that is there's no changes to the mission itself. If we were doing a mission that was at nighttime or heavy rain or a blizzard and fog, well, there'd be negative effects. But right now, there aren't any. The other thing I didn't talk to you guys about are the morale tokens and how you can use them. A morale token can be used to add +1 to one of your movements. You have to do an actual movement and use a movement card for that, or a basic action of movement, and then you can use a morale token to get +1 move. You can also use it for +1 to your hit value for a range attack. Make it more likely that you can hit. You can't roll more dice, but you can have your hit be increased by 1. For a melee attack, you can use it to add +1 attack dice for that melee attack. On page 18 of the rulebook, they have a nice turn overview for your missions. Normally you have your setup phase and your character action phase, but we're going to start off with the enemy action phase. For the enemy activation, each of them in order, beginning from one with the highest starting health level to the lowest, performs the following activities. They have a first action and a second action. And the thing to note is if they are the same health, which our characters are, we can choose which order we want to do them. The order that I want to do them is the melee one first, which is the muscle with the club, the orange shirt, because the bandit with the pistol will attack range, and if he rolls a 6 when you're doing a ranged attack, he could actually hurt his muscle with the club if he's attacking the same area as where the muscle of the club is. We look at the muscle with the club's AI card, and we can see his top thing that he'd like to do is do a melee attack. But he's currently in a space with his own companion, so he's not going to attack him, unfortunately. Then we move to the next step, and he's got two different options here. You always take the top one first if you can do it, followed by the second one. So he needs to move 1 to target and then melee attack. Or, if no one was in range 1, he would just move 2 to the target. Now, to determine the target, he'll always target the character that is closest to him, and then if there's ever a tie, the target becomes the character with the lowest number of defense dice in regards to the current resolved type of attack. If that's still impossible to determine the character to be targeted, then you just choose randomly. Right now, nobody rolls dice. We're all within range 1 because, yes, you can move diagonally in this game. So we're all within range 1, so we're just going to have to randomly choose who's going to get attacked. Whenever we need to determine a character, we'll roll this D8 die. 1 and 2 will be Kat, 3 and 4 will be Sal, 5 and 6 will be Chad, and 7 and 8 will be Danielle. So we'll give this die a roll, and we have a 4. So that means that he's going to target Sal. Now we were slightly ready for this. Danielle will go ahead and play 1 reaction card. You can play 1 reaction card per enemy activation. You can do it before, during, or after their activation. She's going to go ahead and play this unknown territory. An enemy moves 1 space less. Now you guys let me know, but I'm pretty sure as long as she has line of sight to that character, she can do that. She's within range 1. There isn't a range on here, so to speak, so I'm not sure. But I don't know how helpful this would be if she could only play this when the enemy was in her space. So I'm going to take that she can play this now, and that means he will not be able to move at all because he normally moves only 1 space. So our muscle here failed to move forward 1 space. He's a little pissed. He's going to activate a second time. He's going to do the same thing. Move 1 to target and then do a melee attack. So let's see. He will target a 7. That will be Danielle, who just played that card. That totally makes sense. Well, we tried to stop him, but it didn't work. We slowed him down at least. He's going to move into here and attack Danielle. We can see on his card, his only weapon is a melee weapon. He rolls 2 dice and his 2 hit value is 2. We'll be rolling these 2 dice. Remember that we're always trying to roll low in this game. So we get a 1 and a 6. So the 6 misses, but the 1 is a hit. Normally you would track the health on their character boards, but their character boards are so gosh darn big, it's hard to get everything on camera. For right now, I'm just going to put the wounds on my characters over here, and then I'll transfer it to their boards at the end of the round, or I should say at the end of the mission. Now we have our green coat, the bandit with the pistol. First thing he'd look to see if he's in melee. He's not. He's within range 1. So here we have ranged attack. It's going to be at a -1 to hit, and then he's going to move 1 area away. And that's if he's at 1 space away, which is what he is. So that's what he'll do for his first action, and then he'll move away. Then for his second action, he'll be able to do any one of these because he will be 2 spaces away. We still need to determine who he's going to attack because we're all a valid target. We don't roll any defense dice. So we'll roll this up. It's an 8. Oh, it's Danielle again. Really? Oh, they are picking on her. So you can see here, his range is 1, so he's going to roll 3 dice, and he hits on a 3. But because he is using this action, it's actually -1 to the hit value. So it's only a 2 instead of a 3. So we're rolling 3 dice, but he hits on a 2 or lower. 2 or lower, rolling 3 dice. And he only hits us with 1. Now, if he had rolled a 6, which I was kind of hoping for, he would have actually hit his own teammate that muscle with a club. But no, instead he rolled, what was that, a 5? So it was close, but no cigar. But he did get 1 hit on Danielle. Kat's going to come into the rescue, though, and she's going to play Improvised Bandages. Losing 1 health during this action is canceled. Affects any player on your space. So since they're in the same space, Danielle will not take that point of damage. He'll then go ahead and take a step back, so he's going to move back into this area. And something I do also want to mention that I haven't said is these areas, you can have an unlimited amount of characters on it, so you don't have to worry about, oh, there's only 4 here, I can't put another one there. No, definitely Chad can move into there if he'd like. For the second activation for our bandit, we'll go ahead and look at this greater than 1 range, and we have to see if we can perform a ranged attack. Now, I haven't talked about it because we've been right next to each other, but how line of sight works in this game is you have to be able to draw a straight line from center to center without hitting any obstacles or lines. But characters do not block line of sight. So he can see everyone still, no problem. There's nothing in the way. We're all in open space anyways. So he's just going to go ahead and randomly determine who he's going to attack. And then this time, with the range attack, because he's 2 spaces away, he'll only roll 2 dice, but he hits on a 2+. Or not 2+, 2 or less. We'll roll our D8 to see who he's going to target, and he is going to target Sal. Bring it. Sal's going to go ahead and play her camouflage card. During an enemy ranged attack targeting you, -1 to their 2 hit value. So now he has to hit a 1 with 2 dice. We'll grab our 2 attack dice and give him a roll, and of course he does get a 1. But you know what's great? We have some collateral damage. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He also hit his own teammate, the muscle with a club, with this shot. This means our muscle with a club already has 1 point of damage, but unfortunately, so does Sal. We've now completed the enemy activation. Let's go ahead and have some fun, shall we? So the first thing we need to do is the setup phase. We check for any temporary effects. There aren't any. Then we can choose our first character. I think I'm going to go ahead and choose Kat for that because I want her to do a little bit of healing. Then we'll do refresh our action card hand. So the characters starting their turn draws action cards so that they have 5 total in hand, and then they can play 2 actions. Now, there are all the actions on your card, but you also have 3 basic actions. We can perform as a basic action a melee attack. So a character who's in melee with an enemy may perform a melee attack with a 2 hit value of 1. Ugh, not great. But remember, you can always hit with a 1. You can do an interact, and that's where you can interact with something on the board. There's any of that in our mission here. Or you can just move 1 space in any direction. Here we have Kat's hand of 4 cards. I get to draw up to 5, so I'll grab another one. Ooh, we have a melee attack 2 that we could do. I get to choose 2 of these that I want to do. And I know the first one that I want to do is called On Call here. And this says I can move 1 space, but I'm going to forego that because I do not want to do a parting leap. A parting leap would be me leaving the space with that muscle with a club. Not really into that because then he gets an attack on me. What I do want to do is do a heal 2. I'm going to go ahead and heal, let's go ahead and heal Danielle to start off with. So Danielle will heal up to 2 damage, so she healed the 1 that she had. And then I think for my second action, I'm going to play Stimulation here. This states that all characters, including you, although it doesn't matter because I'm going to do my 2 actions, on your space get +1 to their 2 hit value until the end of this turn. Yeah, using that hopefully so we can beat up that muscle with a club. Next, we're going to go ahead and move to Chad's turn, and we don't need to draw because we have 5 cards in hand already. We are going to do a quick strike. This is going to allow us to move 1 space into Kat's space that will give us a +1 to our 2 hit. So normally our melee attack is a 2 hit of 3. It's going to be a 2 hit of 4. And then to top it off, we're also going to use our aim strike here. When performing a melee attack, you may re-roll 1 of your dice that you're rolling. So I'm going to make sure I hit this guy. He already has 1 damage. We only need to do 2 more to defeat him and win this mission. All right, Chad, let's go and see if we can take him out. We're going to move ourselves into this space, and we're going to attack him with a 2 hit value of 4. This is where Chad gets a little insane. He has a strength value of 2, so that means he gets to roll 2 dice whenever he is using his might to attack. But then his machete gives him a +2 as well, so he's going to roll 4 dice. He also gets a +1 to the 2 hit value with his machete. So right now, because of the action card, it's 3. Then because of cat, it's 4. And then because of this, it's a 5. Rolling 4 dice, we can hit on 5s, 4s, 3s, 2s, and 1s. The only thing we can miss on is this. And remember, we won't do collateral damage to our team if we happen to roll this, because this is a melee attack, not a ranged attack into a space with characters in melee. We've got our 4 attack dice. Let's see how much we do. We do 1, 2, 3 points of damage. He only gets, let's see what he gets for defense. Looking here, his melee defense is only 1 die. So he's only going to be able to get 1 shield at most, and that means we're going to kill him. We'll still roll it anyways for fun. Yeah, he doesn't even block that. 4 hits, he's toast. With our muscle with a club out of the way, the bandit with the pistol is going to turn tail and run. He's going to run off the board, and we just won the mission. But now I'm going to go ahead and place on Sal's card, or adjust on her character sheet that she has 1 point of damage. Now, I didn't even get to show you all what a ranged attack looks like, but I am sure I will show you that soon, because once we find another mission, most likely it will not be as easy as that first one. So we get to read the victory here. "Are you finally done cleaning up?" Strangelove asks, looking unimpressed with your effort. "I didn't expect it would take so long. Well, as my father used to say, the first pancake is always spoiled." "Now that the welcome party is finished, we can get back to the task at hand." So each character will gain 1 experience point, and then the character who deals the finishing blow to the bandit with a pistol. I forgot about this. If we had taken the guy with the pistol out, someone could have actually gained some morale. Didn't do that. Each character gains 1 fuel cell, so that's essentially the currency in the game. So everyone's going to get 1 of those and 1 of these beauties. Stanislaw leads you through the streets. You might want to start by having a look around the town, listening to speeches of the followers of the new religion. You could even try to get some confessions from one of their priests, or see what their local lowlifes have to say. It's a good idea to visit Piggery, a dilapidated joint hidden in an alley to the west of the main square. Ask for Jim Vasquez and tell him I sent you. Another place you might find interesting is a pub called Under the Side. Customs officers and smugglers often drink there. Old Grant is a bartender. Maybe he'll tell you something. Of course, you'll want to visit the main square in the evenings from time to time. That's where rallies usually take place. Frozen God's priests come to give speeches there. Located outside of town is El Inferno. The tech square over there is popular among priests and preachers, but beware. Getting there is risky. In the meantime, I need to head east. We're negotiating protection terms regarding a new settlement called Red Canyon. If you happen to discover something important before I return, go straight to the prefect's HQ. They'll point you in the direction of the right person to talk to. Good luck. Stanislaw shoots a grin and hurries off. And then we have a slew of cards to place out on the board. And this is the fun part about the game. Look at all this stuff we can explore. I'm not going to read all of this. The big one that you need to know is Event 005 is actually going to be placed face down over 410, but we're going to place a tracker on it, this C token, and it's not going to be available to us until we get to day 4. So essentially it's a speech, I believe. This is when the next speech on the square is scheduled to take place and will allow you to investigate this lead. So we can't investigate this lead until day 4. Here we have our map of different locations and sites. This is where we are right now in New Jensen. Here are the sites within New Jensen's. And then here we have El Inferno, and then these sites within El Inferno. You can see here we have the C token here, denoting that we cannot look at this card until we get to day 5. And you can see that on our base tracker over here. We had to place it 4 days from now. It's day 1, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Day 5, that will become available to us. And you can see up here in the upper right-hand corner, this tells you that if you do not try and resolve this card between days 5 and 25, you're likely not going to have enough time to resolve this entire mission before the 56-day campaign is complete. So this is obviously very important if even by day 25 you can't finish this. So we need to make sure that we head out there. So now we have a couple different options. What we can do for 1 day is we can move all the way over to El Inferno, because that's a different location. Since these are the same type of cards, this is a location that's a level 1 danger, this is a location level 2 danger. We could do that, but I don't think we're ready for that. We have tons of stuff that we can explore in New Jensen, all these sites, and any of the movement between these sites is free for time. It does not take us different times or different days to go ahead and move to different areas within New Jensen. Think of them as like different streets. So if I went to Piggery Street, then to Main Square, yeah, that's not going to take me a whole day to get there. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to start off by moving here to New Jensen under the side, this 405, and we're going to read this card 002A. But before that, I do also want to show you these location cards. There's a couple different things to look at on these site cards. First of all, these are all different types of things that you can purchase from here. Now, if there is something in this area here, this tells you that you can buy the blueprint for it. So I could buy the blueprint for the first aid kit. Can't make it because I don't have the tool or the workshop. I only have the armory. So I could look here. Let's see. Is there any armory? No, there's no armor here. If there was, I could potentially purchase the blueprint for that so then I can start building it. This means I can buy it outright. So for 4 fuel cells, I could actually buy outright a first aid kit here. I could also sell a first aid kit for 2 fuel cells here. I also could potentially just buy food with fuel cells at a 1-to-1 ratio. We can also do a work, and this takes us 1 day. We could just work here, and then what we would get is we'd spend the day, and then we'd each get 2 fuel cells. Every time you move between sites to a location or a location to sites, we have to roll this blue die, and if we get a shield, then we have to have one of those town events. If we get a blank, nothing happens. So because we're moving to a site, we'll roll this up, and we have no event. Great. So that means we can just start by resolving or drawing up these 2A and 2B cards. The joint under the side is easy to find with all the shouting, cheers, and sounds of a party coming from inside. Soon, you reach a pile of containers connected together and turned into a 2-story pub. On the side of one of the containers, there are plastic blinds that constitute the main entrance to this den. Once inside, you notice a short man standing behind the bar. His face is badly scarred. Under a military vest, you can see bulging biceps covered with tattooed satanist symbols and naked women. The man's hair is greasy, hanging around his face in dirty shags. When you look curiously around, the bartender circles the counter and heads quickly towards a neighboring container with a primitive boxing ring. There, an enthusiastic crowd is cheering 2 fighters exchanging blows. It seems the bartender is taking bets, as every now and then people shout names of the boxers. Skinny and Whitney Antelope, if your ears don't deceive you. Behind him, there's a helper with a barrel full of various items. This must be the pot awaiting any winners. On the bottom of the card, you'll see this icon. That means continue on with the story for the next card, so 2B. A few blows later, Witty Antelope hits the floor unconscious, and Old Grant starts paying out the winnings. You wait until some of the patrons leave and ask the bartender what's going on in the town. Why so curious? Are you a local or newcomers? You don't seem familiar, and I remember faces well enough. We've got 3 options here. We could say we're a group of machine hunters from outside the town. We're looking for ammo supplies and food in New Jensen. We're working for the prefect, looking for some news. We can all profit if you help us. Or one question, what are these fights? Anything regular? Well, we're talking to a guy with naked women on his arms. I think that we probably wouldn't want to tell him that we're working for the prefect right now, because based on what I am reading, it doesn't seem like people like the prefect very much. I mean, I wouldn't like him. He sounds like a piece of trash. So let's go ahead and do A, that we're going ahead and looking for ammos and supplies. This means now we'll go to card 007. Remember, don't buy anything from this rip-off guysman at the gun store. The man spits to underline his words. The stuff barely works, and they have special prices for newcomers. If you must, go to the set opposite the Quack Zik. You will recognize it by a red badger over the door. Grant pauses for a moment to take a long sip of his glass. It's getting interesting here, too, I must say. The prefect is mad because of those frozen god guys all getting more cheeky, and they have some followers, too. Every single poor wretch or homeless bum listens intently to their bull crap prophecies. You'd better stay away from New Jensen for some time, if you value your peace, that is. You start a conversation about the newest gossip and carefully try to learn more about this frozen god. Oh, I see. Supplies ain't the only reason you've come here. Grant pierces you with a gaze. Maybe I could tell you a bit more or show you the way to someone else who could, but nothing's free. Let's make a deal. You look tough, and I need fists for our boxing league. Nowadays, people have little entertainment, so I'm doing my best to set up some sport business. I need 1 new fighter ready for Friday. If you win for me, you'll be more than pleased with the info I'll give you, plus the usual prize, some gear from the pot. Are you in? I'll add you to the roster for the moment. Take your time to think it over. Place 006 with the A face down under this specific spot, and then place A on the day's track 3 days from now and set up 419. Then we get to gain, oh, this is cool, this is a story event token, so we're going to gain story event 4. Cool, and now you can see here, this is trashed, so we'll go ahead and discard this after we do this. Here's that story event token. I'll go ahead and just place this by my base. And then on my base board, I now have another event within 3 days from now, 1, 2, 3, so day 4, we can then potentially go to that Cars 6. Here we have our new site. This one will be under New Jensen, and look at this. We can actually get a bulletproof vest or a scrap armor for 16 or 10 bucks. I wish we could get the blueprint, but we can't. But still, nice. We at least have a way that we could potentially purchase some armor. Well, that wasn't bad. We found out a little bit of information at least, and we didn't have anything terrible happen to us. So that was our first movement. We can go ahead and move somewhere else. Let's go ahead and move to Piggery. So we'll have to roll our defense die. I'll pick it up and just give it a roll here. It's still blank, so that means we have no event. Let's go ahead and read 003A. You need a little time to find the dive. You end up in front of a signboard with a drawing of an enormous pig. A half-open door is right next to you. Once inside, you are overwhelmed by a horrible stench of patrons and unending screams. The place is bathed in light coming from all kinds of ancient bulbs and flashing color LEDs. You get to the counter and ask for Jim Velasquez. The bartender points at a tall guy sitting over a glass of whiskey and chatting with a pocket-marked man. You approach the guy. "What the heck do you want?" asked Jim bluntly, after waiting you out for a couple of minutes. His voice reminds you of the sound made by a grinder working through a rod of hardened steel. "Stanislaus Zealot sent us. He said you might know something about the cult of the frozen god. The prefect wants to get rid of it once and for all, and we are his tool for the job." "Maybe he sent you. Maybe not," says Pockmarket, thoughtfully swinging on his bar stool. "Shut it, Mick. Freshman told me yesterday he'd sent some half-wits here. Looks like he's found some real talents. Just look at that poor wretch right there." He points at the shortest of you. "You can tell no one pays her for thinking. All looks right for me. They must be from the freshmen." They both start to laugh. Well, we've got some options here. We've got, "Hey, pretty face, we haven't come here to be insulted by the likes of you. You say and place your hands on the handles of your gun for a better effect." Ooh. Or, "You'll have to deal with the prefect once he learns you didn't want to cooperate." Or, "Time to do business. What do you have for us?" Ugh. Yeah, I don't know if Chad would really appreciate people saying that to saying that to his sisters. So I think I am just going to go with A. I mean, this might be brash, but come on. That's totally what he would do. He wouldn't just sit around and be like, "Come on, just tell us what to do." No. Let's go to 0117, option A. So this card here has an A and a B. I'm covering up the B so you don't see what that other option was that I didn't take. Just because that way, if you play it on your own, you can take a different path if you want. Upon hearing this, Jim's face hardens. "You'd better change your tone, or I just might get angry. Know your place, jerks. Now, what do you want to hear what I know or not?" We either have, "Yeah, just tell us what you know," or B, "You'll take back what you've just said in no time." This is Chad. We're doing 20. He is pissed at this guy. Jim kicks the table and draws his gun. You do the same. But before any of you has a chance to shoot, bodyguards hold you in their steel arms. A moment later, you're kicked out, and Jim and his friends are your partners in crime. So we either have for option A, you jump at Jim and pin him to the ground. Now tell us everything you know or you'll end up dead. Or tell us what you want for the information and we'll part ways, no harm done. No. At this point, I'm not going to go back on him. If we have to fight him, we have to fight him. Let's do option A, and let's pin him to the ground. You must have intimidated Jim, as his voice is trembling when he speaks. To the northeast, maybe 10 miles from our town, there is an old weather station. I don't know if it still works, but maybe you could make it running again and scan the area. If you find the place where freezing temperatures concentrate, you'll get to the place you're looking for. Now let me go! So we get to set up a new location, 422, and we'll place 080 face down over it. Ooh, cool. Thanks, Chad, for stiff-arming him. Hopefully this shows you don't talk to Cat that way. Here we have the weather location, 422. Now this is another location, not a site, and it's a 3 danger location, so that'll go above El Inferno. and we're going to place the event 008 on top of it face down. Okay, well, we almost got ourselves into a fight. I thought for sure we were going to have to fight him, but that was nice. He just gave us the information. In Piggery, we also have this side quest we can do, an airplane wreck. I'm not going to read you it all here, but the big thing to know is we could set up a location and place a different event underneath it after reading. This tells us that in general, this is a 2 out of a 3 difficulty. I don't think we're there yet. I think we need a little bit more before we do that, so I think I'm going to pass on that. Instead, I feel like it's as good as time as any to check out the main square. Now we're going to have to roll our blue die again, and we do get a shield this time, so that means we're going to have a town event. Now watching Ron's playthrough, someone suggested that you draw from the bottom of the deck, and I really like that idea. So I'm always going to draw from the bottom of the deck on these cards. And we have a job. Ooh, we have a job. Cool. While making your way through the streets, you come across a few men who look to be hauling large, heavy sacks on their backs. Following them is a tall, scraggly woman who appears to have had a foot replaced with a steel prosthetic, which makes a rhythmic clunk, clunk against the paved street as they make their way. She's obviously the matron commanding this group. Seeing you, she speaks to you in a soothing tone. "Hello, stranger. Would you help us with a job? We're looking for strong men and women to help unload a caravan just down the way. Our machine has broken and we need muscle to transport these goods." She continues, "I can pay you with a sack full of canned food each. What do you say? Let's go." We can either say, "You think you've got time to help, and besides, the pay sounds well worth the time. That will take us 1 day," and then we can do option A, or B is, "No thank you, we just don't have the time to be carrying stuff right now, and besides, what guarantees that we'd even get paid?" That's true. Do I want to take the chance? It's a job. I have a hard time saying no to jobs right now because I need stuff. I need a lot of stuff. Maybe we get some money. We only have $4. We do have a lot of food, but we are going to have to use 1 food for the day, so just so you know that. So let's go ahead and spend this cost. We'll move up our day tracker, 1 space on here. Now that means we each need to eat 1 food. I have 4 food here. This means Kat has 4 food because she came the most prepared, and everyone else still has 2 food remaining. If we didn't have food, we'd take wounds because we're not eating, so we're essentially getting ourselves sick. Now we get to find out if that was a good idea or not. So we'll flip the card, as you can see here. Once at the caravan, you get to work immediately, heaving the bags from the caravan and following her to where she wants them stored. Hours pass and dozens of bags have been hauled across town. You collapse, exhausted from the hard day's work. The matron approaches with a hearty smile. "Thank you kindly for all the work today. You really helped us out of a bind." She motions to a table behind her with a few sacks that are full of canned goods. "As promised, a bag each as compensation for your time and help. Thank you and farewell." Yes! Thank you. Glad we believed her. We each are going to gain 1 experience. Awesome. So we're each going to gain an experience. We now each have 2. And 3 food each. That's 12 food we just gained. We're now at the main square of New Jensen. Let's go ahead and reveal event card 004. In the evening, you go to the main square, where followers of the frozen god gather every day. Somehow you find free space as the crowd pushes forward to get closer to the priest. You can barely see the man standing on some platform, his figure towering over the heads of the faithful. You hear only fragments of his speech. Cheers of the crowd and gusts of cold wind chill you to the bones, deafening the priest's words. And this is in the middle of the summer.
"And then darkness and the long night took reign. One day after, our frozen lord awoke, opened his eyes and trembled. He saw through the hearts of the most oppressed, wretched, and luckless people. Let our faces be bathed in the light of the new. Cast away your false idols, for cold is coming. The righteous need not fear of the coming frost."
The rest sounds more or less the same. A couple of minutes later, when you are half frozen, the priest ends his speech. You try to get to him, but it's impossible with so many people. The priest descends his platform, and you no longer see him. At the same time, the crowd slowly dissolves. You won't learn anything more here. We're going to trash this card, but we do gain card 094. This card seems to be that priest speech, so I'm assuming that's pretty important. So we'll put this by our base, and we'll definitely, I'm assuming we're going to reference it at some point. So now we're sitting here at the market square, and you can see here we can actually buy certain types of items, like junk, batteries. We could even buy lighting, electronics, explosives, optics. You might need those when we eventually get those blueprints. We can use those to then upgrade or build gear. For example, in order to build these goggles, we're going to need to have 2 junk in order to do that. You can see that here. The other thing we have are a ton of these side quests. Let's go ahead and look at those quick. We have training here, which we don't need anything for. We have a vehicle breakdown, which is definitely a side quest, but we need batteries, which we could potentially buy. But each character would gain some more food, some junk, and a stimulant if we actually completed that. We have clearing the rubble. This one, it would take, approximately 2 days to complete. We'd place up a new location and another event card. We'd gain 6 money and 2 food. That's kind of appealing. We have our pump here. This is also a level 1, but we need a battery and we need some junk. And we'd gain a rifle and night vision goggles and healing to each character. We've got an oil plant that's in danger. Ooh, this one is a 2 difficulty. I don't think I'm ready for that yet. And that's it. So let's go ahead and start with training. You are crossing the main square when you notice a huge ad hanging between 2 hovels. Only here, as good as free. Training for everyone, fight like a machine, rule like the prefect, shoot like a pro, limited entries. Intrigued, you follow the signs. So let's go to 502. Close to the square, you find the ruined building housing the training center. Through the open window, you can see a dozen people sitting in seats akin to dentist chairs. They are connected to a multitude of cables and tubes of different colors. Once you get inside, you meet a secretary. An old barrel covered with a hardboard acts as her desk. Ladies and gentlemen, are you here to train? Do you wish to become true warriors? Thanks to a unique mixture of chemical stimulants and dedicated software, we can shorten a year's worth of training to just 1 day. You won't find something like this anywhere else, only in our center. The whole course lasts for 24 hours and costs 1, I'm assuming that's supposed to be fuel cell. Would you like to enter? Missing such an opportunity would be a sin. Each willing character discards $1. We have to spend a whole day, so we also have to eat food. You leave while you can. The only thing you can get from training in this hovel is an incurable disease. But maybe you'll change your mind. Leave this card face up under 407. Man, we only have $4. This would be for all 4 of our bucks. Or do we save it and go and spend it for a battery and then do that other one? What the hey. This clearing the rubble that we can do, we don't need anything for, and we could potentially gain $6 for it. So let's use the $4. We're using our entire fuel cells to do this. Everyone is doing it. But that is going to mean we're going to move 1 more day, and we've got to figure out something about food because we're going to run out of food quick. Oh, wait, no, I forgot I got food. Thank you to that event. So we should be good on food. We'll move up 1 more on the day track. We have spent another 4 glorious food. And we're going to spend 4 of our only fuel cells that we have to do this. This better be worth it. You pay your tuition and sit on free armchairs. A trained professional gives you a drip from a huge container full of some reddish liquid and hooks your head with cables into the central unit. You fall asleep. Let's roll a d6. And we get a 2. If we rolled a 1 or 2, you are somewhat weakened after the training, but you get what you paid for. Each participant gains 4 experience points. That's great. That gives us a total of 6 experience points, I think. Well, I'm not entirely sure that was worth it. We spent all of our money, but we did get 4 experience points. We're now each at 6. We need 20 to be able to level up. So I'll take it. But now I have no money, so I think clearing the rubble is the next thing that we want to do. Anyone with a pair of good hands, or at least working mechanical replacements for ones, may come to the town governor to participate in public works. The prefect has decided to help the inhabitants in making the main road passable again. The public works will entail filling in a huge crevice dividing the road into 2 parts. Any willing people are asked to come to the main square this evening. Free chow, guaranteed. Oh yes, food. This is from Nick Bunkard on behalf of the prefect of New Jensen. Now this is one of the erratas, or the FAQs. You can see I've cut it out and placed it on top of here. It says under 407, place face down 544. This work will probably take two days. And if we do it, then we'll gain $6 each and 2 money. 2 food. And I definitely think that sounds like a good idea because then we'll have unlocked the 2 things, the boxing match and then the speech that's going on in El Infierno. So let's go ahead and grab 544. We're sitting at the 407 location, so let's just go ahead and flip this face up and we have clearing the rubble. Roll a d6. Let's go ahead and see what happens. Also, you can see here, this is another one that was FAQ'd. We'll give our die a roll, and we rolled a 5. Tough luck. One of you has fallen between concrete slabs and twisted their ankle. A random character is going to lose 1 health, but then each character gains $6 and 2 food. Well, what the 2 food means is we're just not going to have to spend the food for the 2 days that we took, so I'm just not going to worry about gaining any food or losing any food. The big thing is we've gained $6, and then unfortunately someone's going to get hurt. We'll roll our D8, and it's 4, so that means Sal took another point of damage. So she's 2 health down now. We'll go ahead and move up our time tracker 2 spaces on here. We're already on day 5, you guys. Whew, that was good, but it's taking up time quickly. Both 005A and 006 we can now reveal. 005A we have to reveal when we go there. 006 we can reveal because it's underneath our site card, and we can resolve those cards if we like. Remember, normally we need to eat food for this, but we gained 2 food, we spent 2 days, so gain 2, lost 2. So I think I'm going to call this one here. I'd like to know what you guys think we should do. Should we go ahead and just move ourselves over to El Infierno, check out this, check out the main storyline, I'm assuming, and hear this speech? Should we go and check out this boxing match? We might be able to get something good there. We now have 6, 12, 18, $24. We could also buy a bulletproof vest if we went over to here. We could buy some batteries and go on one of these side quests. Let me know what you're thinking we should do. I honestly have no idea. I've never played this far, so I have no idea what to do. Just curious what you guys think, and we'll keep journeying on. I'm thinking let's at least do 2 or 3 more videos, and after that point we can decide if we want to keep playing or not. So thank you so much for watching. Thanks for joining Kat, Sal, and Chad, and Danielle on our story. I will see you at the next stop.